Right now, a major global conflict is igniting. In this explainer, we're going to break down Operation Epic Fury, a massive military operation that is unfolding as we speak, and really dig into what it means for the world.
Today, February 28th, the world is watching as the United States and Israel have launched a massive, coordinated military strike against key strategic assets inside Iran. Now, this isn't some minor skirmish. This is a full-scale operation, and it really looks like the culmination of months, even years of escalating tension.
And just a little while ago, President Donald Trump addressed the world, framing this whole thing as a preemptive action. As you can see from his statement right here, the stated goal is to deliver a decisive blow against what his administration is calling a wicked, radical dictatorship.
But, an event this big never happens in a vacuum. To really understand what's happening today, we have to rewind and look back at the past year, because it was just marked by one thing after another: escalating tensions, failed diplomacy, and rising chaos.
This timeline really shows you the downward spiral. It all kicked off with a high-stakes diplomatic effort back in April 2025. But when those talks completely collapsed, mostly over disagreements on uranium enrichment levels, things shifted really fast to direct military engagement. Kinetic action. Israel struck first, and then the US followed with Operation Midnight Hammer, hitting Iran's nuclear sites. This whole period was just a pressure cooker, and it led directly to where we are today.
And it's also absolutely crucial to understand what was going on inside Iran. While all this external pressure was building, the country was facing a massive legitimacy crisis at home. A really severe economic collapse sparked the largest anti-government protests since the 1979 revolution. We're talking about people in the streets openly calling for the end of the regime.
The Iranian government's response to those protests? It was absolutely brutal. According to figures that were cited by the White House, the crackdown resulted in an estimated 32,000 deaths. Now, this level of internal violence, it created a sense of real despair for many, and according to some reports, it even led a part of the population to hope for some kind of foreign intervention.
Okay, so that brings us right back to today. This operation isn't just another strike, no. This seems to represent a fundamental shift in strategy. Let's take a closer look at the mission itself. Make no mistake, this is a fully joint operation. The Pentagon has named its part of the mission Operation Epic Fury, while the Israel Defense Forces are calling their part Operation Lion's Roar. This kind of coordination just shows a united front with a very clear shared objective.
And from Israel's perspective, this is all about survival. Prime Minister Netanyahu's statement frames this as a preemptive strike, one that's necessary to remove what he calls an existential threat posed by Iran's nuclear ambitions and its aggression in the region.
So what exactly are they hitting? Well, looking at this target list, it's basically a who's who of Iran's most sensitive military infrastructure. The goal here seems pretty clear: to systematically dismantle Iran's ability to produce nuclear material and the ballistic missiles needed to deliver it.
And the technology being used is seriously advanced. We're talking about sea-launched Tomahawk cruise missiles, B-2 stealth bombers reportedly flying these incredible 37-hour round-trip missions all the way from the US, and massive GBU-57 bunker buster bombs, which are specifically designed to get through hardened facilities like the one buried in a mountain at Fordo. The sheer scale of this operation suggests they're trying to show overwhelming force.
But Iran did not just sit back and absorb this blow. Not at all. The response was immediate, it was forceful, and it was widespread. It escalated the whole situation from a targeted strike into a regional war in just a matter of hours. The retaliation was incredibly swift. Before the sun was even up across the region, Iran's missile forces were already active, which signals they were ready for this, and they were not going to be deterred.
And that initial wave, it was significant. According to the Israeli military, over 35 ballistic missiles were launched from Iran toward Israel in just the first few hours alone, setting off air raid sirens all across the country.
And the response wasn't limited to Israel. Iran made it crystal clear this was a fight with the United States too, launching strikes against American military bases all across the Persian Gulf.
Just look at this list of impact zones. The conflict immediately spilled across borders. US bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, the UAE, Iraq all came under fire. This wasn't a bilateral conflict anymore. It instantly became a regional firestorm.
So, what does all of this mean for the future? This operation isn't just about destroying targets. It's about fundamentally reshaping the strategic landscape of the entire Middle East.
Some analysts are already floating this new term, active neutralization. It would mark a huge departure from the old policy of maximum pressure,
which relied more on things like sanctions. This new approach seems to prioritize direct military force to permanently dismantle a threat.
Now, the strategic thinking here, at least according to some Western assessments, is that a decisively weakened Iran would create a power vacuum. The hope, then, is that this gives the US and its allies a chance to build a whole new security architecture for the region. Of course, critics are already warning that a vacuum like that could just lead to even more instability and proxy wars.
The events of just the last 24 hours have absolutely shattered the old order. But as this new, really uncertain chapter begins, the critical question remains. What's going to rise from the ashes, and what will the new Middle East actually look like? The entire world is watching.